Hello, and welcome back to the dining room, which we've kind of established means we're probably going to be talking about cameras. But wait, didn't you recently get a new camera? The ZV-1? Well, yes, I did. And in fact, you're looking at me through it right now. It's right there in front of me. So, that's my new camera. But wait, this is my new camera. You knew I was going to do it. Come on, if you watch the ZV-1 video, when I'm sitting there talking about how Mark Bennett convinced me that I needed a Doug of my own, a ZV-E10, well, you knew I was going to have to get my hands on one. Now, it's not that they don't exist, it's that Sony doesn't make them anymore. So basically all that they're out there are the ones that are out there, and there are no more coming out from the factory. But that means they are out there. So I went on eBay and I found a used one, very lightly used. The guy had bought it back when they first came out and then kind of fooled around with it a little bit and then never really did anything with it. And he had accessories for it and it was perfect. So I'm on eBay and so I bid on it. Well, I lost the bid. And by the way, it ended up going for over $1,200. Now, with the kit lens, this camera originally sold for, the MSRP was like $800. So that was a 50% premium for a used one. Now, there were some accessories with it, but not $400 worth, probably not even $100 worth. Well, then a couple of days later, I'm on eBay again, because if you watch the channel, you know how I am. If I want something, I'm gonna get it one way or another. And so eventually, so I found a seller who was selling new ones, but you know, they were scalpers. They bought a bunch of new ones, and they were in Hong Kong, and they were scalping them for like $1,100 and something with the kit lens though. So I mean, but it's not quite a 50% premium, but close. And here's where I was good. I went out and looked at cameras that cost in the $1,000 to $1,500 price range. Because if I was going to pay $1,100, $1,200 for this camera, well, I wanted to make sure that I couldn't get something maybe even better from somewhere else. So I looked and looked, and by the way, the Canon 90D, that's one of those that's between $1,000 and $1,500, and I have one and I love it. But it's so heavy and big and bulky, and it only has the 30-minute thing, and then So I kept looking, and and basically no. When you go over $1,000, it's not until you get to like $2,500 to $3,000 that you get into cameras that are demonstrably better and have a bunch of cool features that this one doesn't. And I'm not paying, I mean, yes, I'm clearly profligate with money, but I'm not going to pay $2,500 or $3,000 for a camera. Maybe someday if this channel, you know, starts making a lot of money and I have money to burn, this is never going to happen. We both know this. I didn't mention it up front, but you can skip ahead, you know. So I did a buy it now for like $1,168 on eBay. The next day, I get an email from the seller saying, "Oh, we're so sorry. We don't have that anymore. We sell on so many sites, we don't keep track of who." I was so mad. And by the way, because the transaction didn't happen, because they refunded my money, but because the transaction didn't happen, I can't leave feedback on eBay saying that they suck. Because they suck. I was all ready. I clicked the button and buy it now. Paid it. Boom. But, wait. But here's where a good thing happened. When I went to pay on eBay for the seller who didn't have it, eBay had a zero interest pay over 4 months thing that you can do. So you pay the same amount, but instead of paying it in one lump sum, you pay it over 4 months. Well, all of a sudden, paying it over 4 months made it a lot more palatable for spending, you know, over $1,000 on a camera that costs less than $1,000. I went back and found another seller on eBay who hopefully was not as dishonest. And because I had just had this bad experience, when this transaction closed, You know, I got the thing, you know, eBay, you sent me a thing, you know, you'll hear from your seller. I never heard a damn thing. Days went by. It was over and it was like a Thursday and like Monday. I still hadn't heard. And then finally, I didn't even get a thing saying, you know, we've noted your order. Nothing. I got nothing. And then finally, I got a thing that said it shipped. So, oh, and this is good. Like 4 days after I got the email that it shipped, I got the email acknowledging the order with a copy of the order and everything that, you know, I should have gotten like the day I ordered it. But anyway, that's how I came to have this. Now, I'll let you in on a little secret. You watched that ZV-1 video where I unboxed the ZV-1 several weeks ago, didn't you? Well, that's when it came out. You could have watched it then. This is not several weeks after I made that video. I made that video yesterday because this came today. They got me this camera from Hong Kong via DHL, and it went through customs. Oh, I had to pay an extra $65 custom, you know, fee tariff thing for bringing it into the country. At this point, $65 was nothing. I paid it. But yeah, they got it from Hong Kong all the way faster than Autorama got the the DV-1 shipped from inside the United States to me. So this came a day later, but I'd ordered it many days later. That all aside, now let's get to the timestamp where I actually start opening this up. Now, first thing I noticed, I already opened the box, and I noticed all the little manuals aren't here, which is not a good sign. That typically means, well, A, it means the box is open because they took all the manuals out, but it probably means they weren't in English. They were probably in Chinese. Again, this came from Hong Kong, so it may have been in Chinese. But in here we have the actual camera. Oh, it's heavy. Way heavier than that little guy. Ah, we have the power cord for Asia, where I am not. We have a, I don't know what. Oh, this is the USB adapter. I have 1,000 of these. That's not really an issue. And here is the USB-A to USB-C. That's where one of the advantages this camera has over the ZV-1 is it's USB-C, not mini USB. But I have things this will plug into, so I'm good. I don't need this other thing. We have the rudely named thing that I won't repeat, but the microphone muff, because this, well, I'll get it out of the bag here in just a second. And a little strap. Oh, and here's, oh, maybe this was the other reason they opened the box. They opened the box to throw this in so that I would have a power thing that I could use here in the United States. If that was the case, thank you, seller. I appreciate that. I don't really need this, but that was very thoughtful of you. So that's everything that was in the box. Let's look at the camera. Now, I did get this with the kit lens, which has nothing on here written about it. I will put all the specs of the kit lens somewhere here next to my head, one side or the other. If you look, it looks astonishing like that camera, the ZV-1. It's got the same little hot shoe. It doesn't have the little cover that the other one had. By the way, this is where this thing slides in. I'm never going to use this internal mic. I'm using a Rode Wireless Go 2 right now, and I bought a Sony wireless mic that uses the hot shoe, so I won't have to have the little cable running around. Oh, which is right next to the thing, which, okay, that's, on this camera, it's on the opposite side from the hot shoe. So my Rode Wireless Go is plugged in here, and then the cord runs all the way around over to this side. Wait, there was no battery in the case. Why am I thinking, yes, it's in the camera. Okay, this was definitely open. Sony does not ship these things with batteries inside, so this was definitely opened and mucked around with. I don't think it's not used, but I mean, it's not like opening a fresh one, you know, and breaking all the sealing and everything. By the way, this is a different battery, larger battery, which is a good thing, and it'll have slightly longer recording time than the ZV-1. But all the little buttons here are the same. Oh, the on-off switch on the ZV-1, it's a button, so you can accidentally hit it. Here it's a little slide toggle, and you can't accidentally turn it on. But it also means the camera doesn't come on when you open it, which again I'm fine with. Well, and then the kit lens, which is looks like it's an f3.5 at 16 millimeters to f5.6 at 50 millimeters optical steady shot. It's a Sony lens, which is not that wide angle, but it's not a bad little lens. And more importantly, it is removable. It's an E-mount. So basically, it's all the things I liked about the ZV-1, and the things I like the most about the ZV-1 again are the flip-out screen, so that I can see myself. I can look over here and I can see that I'm in the frame and I'm holding the camera up, and the autofocus, which again is amazing. Like Canon and Sony, like just kick everybody else's butts when it comes to autofocus, because they both have the eye tracking and face tracking. And in these cameras, the Sony cameras, also you can set like how far will you let it look for a face. You can set it to only look for a face in the center of the screen, or you can, I have it set to wide, so if I put my face over here or over here, it'll still be in focus. And the menus are almost identical, although they're not identical, because there's another big difference between this camera and the ZV-1, is that this is a different sensor. You see the little alpha over here. This is the same sensor that's in like the Alpha 6000 series of APS-C cameras. So it's I think it's 24 megapixel. I'll put specs up, but I think this sensor is 24 megapixel. And that one's 20. This one is 6K, technically a 6K sensor that then down samples to 4K, so it's sharper. So it's a better sensor. This is a better camera. Also, it feels sturdy. There's more metal in it, or harder plastic. It may still be plastic, but it feels a lot sturdier, and it's a lot heavier. Partly could be the lens. I will tell you right now that in the future, when I'm using a tripod, when I have tripods involved, this will probably always be on the tripod. And the ZV-1 will be on that little remote selfie thing that I showed you in the last video, where you can control the camera from the stick. So I can zoom in and zoom out and do all that stuff without having to touch the camera. Oh, another thing this one had, now, the one I'm looking at, I know it's recording because there's a big red dot, a big bright red LED. I mean, it's big. It's not something you're going to overlook. But this one, when you're recording, puts a red outline around the frame. So you're looking at the picture. So when you're looking at that over there, if it has a big red border around it, well, then you know it's recording. Now again, I'm not a camera guy, so I am not going to do a lot of videos about the cameras. I mean, I did the unboxing of the ZV-1, and now I'm doing the unboxing of this one, and I'll probably do one more after I've had them for a while, where I compare, you know, what it's like to use them and how I feel about them, and you know, and you saw how many cameras I have, and I hate almost all of them. Well, I don't hate, well, yeah, I kind of hate a lot of them. But so far, I love my 90D, except for the 30-minute thing, which of course these don't have. These will record until the battery runs out, or until the card is full. And by the way, I'm looking on the screen over there. I have 4 hours and 47 minutes before the card is full over there, shooting at 4K. So, oh, and I may not have mentioned this. If you plug in while you're shooting, like if I run a cord off of there, the battery won't run out, so it's until the card is full. So I could record for 5 solid hours, and then have to change cards and then record for another 5 hours. So these are much better cameras for the kind of stuff I'm doing than the 90D. A lot of the times when I've done stuff out in the garage with the car, where I drag the 90D out and set it on a tripod, I have to stop and then start everything back up because the 90D shuts down every 30 minutes because that's as long as it can record because of some tax law. If it's going to cost hundreds of dollars more, people will put up with it, but I don't like putting up with it, and in these cameras, I don't have to. So I am much happier with these. And I gotta tell you, Mark Bennett was right. I love that camera. When I took it out of the box, I thought it's adorable, it's cute, I love it, but it's not really a camera. It's a point and shoot. Because as you saw in the unboxing, when you turn it off, the lens collapses all the way in, so it's a little flat thing. Now that's a good thing. You can then put it in your pocket. And I know you've noticed probably that I wear scrubs, and they're cargo scrubs, so I have lots of pockets all over these things, so I could just stick that thing in my pocket when it's folded up. That lens, no. I'd have to take the lens off, and then even then, I'm not going to want to put it in my pocket. So that's a pocket camera that I could carry around with me. Also on the little selfie stick. It's very lightweight. I could carry that around for a long time. This is going to be a tripod camera. And, oh wait, look. You want to change the battery and the card and have something attached? Well, guess what? The battery compartment is no longer right next to the tripod mount. So you can have things mount it on here, and you can have it on tripod or on the little selfie stick and still get to this. So that's an ergonomic improvement. It has much more of a grip over here, so it's a lot easier to hold, which of course has to be because it has all this extra weight of this lens. And by the way, this is a little bitty kit lens. You know, lenses can get quite big and then they get quite heavy, so having that on there is going to be a real improvement. But again, you will have already seen this camera, the ZV-1, in action because every video after that one, where I unboxed that, was shot, or at this point in time, will be shot, because I still have the stuff that I mentioned at the end of the last video, the ZV-1 video, that I could get to shoot. Those things will be shot on the ZV-1, but by the way, they'll now also be shot on here. So now this is the other reason I went ahead and bought both. A, because I just had to have it. Yeah. But then B, I was thinking, you really need a two-camera solution, and the 90D just isn't the camera to be part of a two-camera solution. Plus, these will be much more closely matched. The footage will look similar. While they are different sensors and different lenses, they're still going to look a lot like, they'll still have the Sony color type stuff. I mean, they're going to look more alike. So it'll be a lot easier to do two-camera, A and B camera type stuff if I have two of these. Well, two Sonys. So I have the two Sonys for running and gunning with the little guy. I can go running around. And then for when running and gunning when tripod, then I have this one. And then double tripod, I can use both these. It's on a tripod right now. The Manfrotto, I bought, by the way, I think I mentioned this in the last video, but I bought another Manfrotto. Here, I'll put it back here with my face so it'll be in focus. These are great little tripods, and they're priced very well. Again, I don't remember. I think it's around 50 bucks, but look on the screen. It'll be down below. But they also have, it's just the little thing for slipping in is a little, there we go. Well, here, we'll try I'll cover my eyes. It's just a little bitty bud. And you'd screw that in, and it just bumps out a little tiny bit. And so they're real easy. It doesn't. So it's just like it makes the camera like off balance a little, but it's very small. So I love this tripod, and so I bought another one of those. I also bought a Smallrig. Like I got a Smallrig. Now that one needed the Smallrig. It needed the grip, and you had to have it because of this nonsense under here, where when you put any kind of thing on the tripod mount, you couldn't open the battery compartment or change the thing. That was just, so you had to have the Smallrig on that one. But as long as I was getting Smallrigs, I went ahead and got one for this camera too. Ooh, this one's more complicated. I have two Allen wrenches and screws and stuff. You may not see this one attached. Oh, and this is one of the things I love about this Smallrig. It has a little key here so you can take it on and off the camera that then slides in to the rig itself so that You always have the little screwdriver you need. So if you need to take it off for any reason, you've got the little thing with you so you can take the screw off. Brilliant idea. But again, it has the multiple mounts for other things. Again, on the side, on the top. It has a cold shoe on the bottom, just like that one. But it also makes the grip much bigger. And see, this is hard plastic. This is a lot softer, and it has little finger indentations. So when you put this in here, yes, this feels a lot better. Now again, makes it heavier still, but again, this is probably going to live on a tripod 90% of its life. That's the one that'll be coming off the tripod and wandering around. So I think this is a pretty good deal. Oh, and just to complete my accessorizing, I got the Neewer, I don't know how you pronounce it. It's Neewer with 2 E's at the beginning. So Neewer. Okay, so it has a little plastic, comes in a little plastic case. So we have the charger, which apparently is, hold on. It looks like it's mini, yeah, it's mini USB. It's not USB-C, so boo Neewer. Although this was rather cheap. Again, I'll have the price up here next to my head and down there below. And then see, these are the slightly bigger batteries. By the way, and these are these will last slightly longer. I think these are like more like an hour, maybe an hour and 15 minutes. But so again, I have at least 2.5 hours of batteries for this camera now as well. Now the other one, that one I have like 2.5 hours worth of battery, but it's like 4 batteries. This one, it's 3 batteries. I am pretty happy with this purchase. Now, I am not pleased that I had to pay the premium. It's not anybody's fault. I could have just said, no, I'll just go with that. But again, the fact that that Bennett. By the way, if you want to know more about this here camera, the ZV-E10, I will link it up here, and I'll put a bunch of Mark Bennett's Camera Crisis channel. This crazy Canadian, he has made, I don't know, dozens and he has compared this camera to just about every other camera that exists. He has done videos on how to do the video settings, how to do the photography settings, how to do this, how to do that. And lenses. He reviews all the different kinds of lenses you can get for this. And by the way, that's the other reason I really wanted this camera, was the interchangeable lenses that one did not have. This one that I'm talking to, the ZV-1, has the flip-out screen, which is not really a touch screen, but you can touch it to. By the way, this also touch screen only for focus, not for, you still have to use little buttons. But then the interfaces will be the same. At one point, I actually considered buying 2 of these. Or maybe buying one of these, buying another one used, so I'd have, again, a 2-camera solution, an A and B. But I like this solution better. Again, it did cost me like an extra $400, but y'all have seen the kind of crap I blow money on, so what would I have spent that $400 on? Plus, I didn't have to pay it all at once. I'm paying like $300 and something a month for the next 4 months. Well, I already paid one, so for the next 3 months. So I'm paying this off over time. 0%, God bless PayPal. So that is my ZV-E10. They're trying to show you that it's a ZV. It's like that. It's got the flip-out screen, and it's got the bokeh button, the make the background blurry button, and it's got the product focus where if you hold something up, it'll zoom in on it. If I had that turned on right now, my hand would be in focus and my face would not. But the way I talk with my hands, you know I can't turn that product focus feature on because my hands will be what's in focus most of the time. By the way, that's one of the other reasons I love Mark Bennett, is that he talks with his hands a lot too, and he has the same problem. He can't turn on the product focus because his hands would be in focus all the time, not his face, because he's always waving, especially when you set it to wide. Now see, there's a reason why you might set it to more narrow, so that if you're waving your hands out here, it's not going to focus on them, it'll still stick. The number of options are tremendous. And again, I'm not really a camera guy. I can't really explain most of them to you, but you know who can? Mark Bennett, the crazy Canadian comedian. So, well, looks like the lighting has changed because I'm a big fat liar. I said this thing would record until the battery ran out or until the video card was full. But it turned off because it was overheated. It's come set on standard, and that everyone who tested the camera said that cuts it off after like 15 minutes. But they said you put it on high and it will record until, you know, until the card fills up or until the battery's dead. Well, so I set it on high and it went for 32 minutes and then cut off because it was too hot. So not as much in love as I was. And we'll see about this guy and see what happens to him. Now, because of my friend Mark Bennett, I feel like we're friends. I've watched so many of his videos. I feel like I should be standing here with a beer going, bye-bye. But anyway, you really got to check him out. He's fantastic. And really knows a lot about cameras, and especially about this camera. This is the camera he's using all the time now, and he has a lot to say about it. There will be another video coming in the next month or so about these two cameras. Thanks for stopping by. See you sometime.